we're going to talk a little bit about how to play a bunker shot. But before we do that, we'll explain a little bit about a bunker. What is a bunker? If we read the rules of golf, you'll quickly find out that a bunker is actually a hazard. Now, on the golf course, there's two types of hazard. You've got water hazards and sand hazards, or in other words, bunkers. When you're in a hazard, there's one rule which applies. You're not actually allowed to touch the surface or ground your club within the hazard before you attempt to play the shot. If you do that, unfortunately, it's a two-shot penalty. So it's just something to be aware of before we walk into the bunker. When we're in the bunker, we don't want to hit the golf ball. We want to use the sand to propel or launch the ball onto the green. So stance, ball position, very important. Our stance is quite wide. It would be baby step, big step, and then from there we wiggle our feet into the sand to give ourselves lots of stability. Now if you notice, the ball is now positioned towards my front foot, pretty much in line with my left heel. Okay, so that makes it very easy for me to hit the sand first. If the ball was in the center, I'd probably hit the ball first. If the ball was further back, certainly there's a great chance I'll strike the ball. Not what we're after. We need the ball positioned forward so we can hit the sand first. And where do we want to hit the sand? Well, a good reference point is probably around 2 inches behind the ball, which is pretty much directly underneath the center of your body, or your buttons on your shirt. Where your sternum is located, that runs about 2 inches behind the ball. So that's where we want our club to enter the sand. So we'll talk a little bit about the golf club, as we did with our pitching. We've got a wedge in our hand, which is a lofted club. So as you know, that will get the ball up in the air, so it lands softly on the green. But one slight adjustment. You know, throughout the DVD, we've talked about keeping the club face square or straight to our target. But with a bunker shot, we actually want to open the club face. So it's now aiming to the right of our target. The reason we do this is because we want to hit the sand with the back of the club or the bounce on the golf club, like bouncing a ball. This back section of your wedge here is called the bounce. This edge here at the front is called the leading edge. That will cause the club to dig, which is not really what we're after. If we open the club, you can see the leading edge has come away from my hand, so it's above the surface. So I'm now going to be using the back of the club, or the bounce, and the bounce on the club will cause it to glide through the sand. So you can see the difference in the motion. That's a gliding motion, whereas when we have the club square, it's a digging motion. So that's a very, very important point, to have the club slightly open before we start. Okay, so that's play a shot. Let's see how we get on. So in position, again, you could start with the feet together as our general routine for all your shots. Baby step, big step. Wiggle your feet in if you're nice and strong, nice and stable. So we'll open the club face first of all. So I like not to take the grip and do this with your arms. Not a great way to open the club. Open the club first of all, then take your grip. Much, much better. So from here, the sternum or the buttons are 2 inches behind the ball. That's where we want this club to enter the sand. So is the shot short or long? Now we're in a greenside bunker, so the shot is actually quite short. So most people will say, okay, it's a short shot, we need to use a short swing. But in a bunker, because we're hitting the sand first, that really slows the club down. So we have to make quite a long swing, which is positive and aggressive. So very similar to our full swing. So we'll need to let the body turn and we'll need to make our L shape. Okay, so let's give it a go. So we're nice and wide, ball positions forward, we've got that club face open. We're trying to keep this behind the ball, and then let's commit to it. Okay, so that's come out nicely, it's landed softly on the green. So if we look at our divot, which is the mark we've left in the sand, that really gives us great feedback. You know, if I pop the ball here, so you can see that's where the ball started. So we've entered the sand, 2 inches behind the ball. The club, rather than dig, it's glided through and under the ball and out the other sand. So the ball is basically landed on the green with a layer of sand underneath the ball. And that's the best way and the simplest way to play all your bunker shots.